Hi everyone, my name is Madeline Sawyer, and the topic I want to talk to you about today is how to include individuals with autism in the college classroom. So our instructional program today has a rationale, objective, materials, and I will talk more about the procedure. So a rationale is why I chose this topic is because I think it's extremely important to learn how to include people with all disabilities, but also especially with autism in the college classroom. And this program provides strategies for you as a professor or a staff member of how to help better meet the needs of these people. So our instructional program today has an objective, materials, and a procedure. Our objective of this program is to provide a list of supports and strategies to have in the classroom to better support these individuals for you as a staff member. The materials for our program are an instructor checklist and a learner profile survey for students. So at the start of each semester, you as an instructor, we're going to administer a learner profile survey for all of your students in the classroom just to kind of get a feel on who learns best with group work or who learns best as an auditory learner opposed to a visual learner. So I feel like all of those things are extremely important to gather that data to help drive your instruction as a professor to help your students learn best in the classroom. So after you get more insight on how all these students learn, then afterwards, you're going to receive a class list, and you should review your class list to see which of your students qualify for accommodations. Now, at the college level, accommodations typically are, providing more time to take tests or exams in separate locations. Some colleges also provide a note taker for these individuals in your classroom to help with any processing and to help better collect information that you're teaching. So after you review the list and go over your accommodations, then this is where you will use the instructional professor checklist that I have provided that you can go over as a professor to see if you are meeting these needs of your individuals with autism in your classroom. So going over the procedural checklist, the criteria says check the box on the form if you understand what the question is saying, and if you need further clarification on a topic or support, there's plenty of videos listed in our box folder that you can refer back to help with different techniques. There's also articles, and as well as the Office for Disability Supports on campus is a great resource to reach out to as well if you need further clarification. So your checklist says, I understand that some of these students might. So we're not saying all of individuals with autism need these supports or have these things that they need help with, but you're just understanding as the teacher that this might be the case for these students, and so you can adjust your teaching and adjust yourself a little bit better. So some of these students might have social anxiety because, as we know, people with autism need help in improving their social skills along the way, some of them. Some students might have performance anxiety, so they might not like to be called out in the middle of class unprepared to answer a question. Some students might have processing information difficulties, so it might take them a while if you're teaching and writing things on the board. It might take them a while to process what you're saying. Some students also might have sensory processing, so are the lights too bright? Are you showing a video that has a lot of flashing in it or loud noises? Those types of things. Some of your students might use literate language. So, for example, in one of the videos, a student spoke very literately, and the professor misunderstood what they were saying. For example, the student was saying, don't start with me, when they were asked a question, but really meant, don't start with me, I'm not ready for this. So just keep in mind that they might be very literal, and so maybe don't take offense right away to something that's said in your classroom, and check with that student later, or reach out to the Office of Disability Supports if they can provide more information on that student or help you out anymore. Also, some of these students might not like to be randomly called on during class time. I feel like this list of things that might overall could also meet the needs of students without disabilities, so it's all just things to keep in mind as you're teaching. So going down, so check the box below to self-reflect on how to support individuals within the classroom. So some strategies to help you be a better professor, be a better instructor. So it says, I'm doing this strategy, or I need further clarification on this strategy on the sides of the charts. So the first one is following disability offices rules for accommodations. I feel like that's something everybody should be checking, because that's important that you're following, the criteria that's set forth by the college campus. But, if you need further clarification, I suggest reaching out. Give time ahead to these students. Give their notes ahead for them to review the criteria that you're being taught that day. I know some professors like to post, their slides on Moodle ahead of time, and that's extremely helpful sometimes for people to feel more prepared to come to class. Providing multiple means of teaching. So videos, pictures, hands-on experiences. Some students really like, people writing on the board during instruction time. Some people prefer the instructor just putting up slides and people talking. Everybody's different, but also providing multiple means will help keep not only your students with autism more engaged, but also all of your students more engaged. Getting to know all of your students within the classroom, who needs certain supports, who doesn't need certain supports, or any certain students like being called upon, how do they work well in groups with others. Another idea that you could have is having another note taker in class to help take notes for students. This could be something that's offered on your campus in general, or just in your class, just in case somebody is absent, or if somebody does have a processing need, you can always refer back to somebody who's taking notes right then and there that has very clear notes to help this person work through. And then lastly, a great suggestion, not lastly, sorry, cooperative learning groups. So this is a strategy that a professor used in one of the videos that helped pair kids into groups based on a questionnaire, and then everyone gets a role during a small group time. So like, for example, you're the leader, or you're the note taker, or you're assigned this. So that way everybody's collaborating and working together, and nobody feels singled out and like they don't have a say in what's going on. Thoroughly outlining what's due on your syllabus for dates and requirements and readings. And then lastly, some colleges have academic coaches for students with disabilities that they can reach out to and work with. If your college campus is one of those colleges, then working closely with those academic coaches and seeing if your students' needs are being met, if they're not comfortable communicating with you and they're communicating with their coaches, seeing how you can better suit your individuals with autism with their needs in the classroom. So this is a procedure that I would suggest using at the start of your teaching. Refer back to this list halfway through the semester to help better support these individuals. And if you need further clarification, there's tons of articles listed. There's some great podcasts in the box folder. Things like this will help, I think, better support these individuals and make them more successful in the college classroom. So thank you for taking the time to watch the video, and please feel free to email or reach out with questions. Thank you.